into authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation.
And intimidate witnesses, but these are superficial similarities with Sean Combs. First, unlike Sean Combs, Mike Jeffries is not accused of committing violent acts that were separate and sex trafficking allegations, and also he didn't use firearms. Also, they say Jeffries is not accused of racketeering like Sean Combs is. Combs, they say, is continually engaging in obstruction. Jeffries' allegations of obstruction ended in 2015. And also, Mike Jeffries is 80 years old. Sean Combs is 55. Two different dangers. Now, interestingly, Sean Combs' other lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, she jumped in at one point during the hearing, and she actually argued to Judge Subramanian that the Jeffries case is actually worse than Sean Combs' case. Why? Because there, prosecutors are alleging an international sex trafficking business, and that the victims were raped and sodomized. And she also said, Combs, guess what? He's not that young either. Now, moving on from that point, I thought that was an interesting back and forth. There was another point in the hearing I want to highlight. And this centered around, once again, the infamous 2016 videotape that was published by CNN earlier this year of Combs purportedly beating his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura in a hotel hallway while he was just wearing a towel. And prosecutors have suggested that Sean Combs attacked her as she was escaping a freak-off, a clear example of sex trafficking, and again, to prove that he is a danger. Dangerousness, key factor in a bail analysis. Now, Judge Subramanian did something actually interesting. He pressed the prosecution about something the defense had brought up, that video may not be exactly what it is because CNN may have spliced it or edited it together. Slavic responded, it was a bit puzzling the defendant brought this up because there's really no dispute as to what actually happened during that incident. In fact, the defendant admitted to it and apologized for it in a public Instagram post.
As if to say maybe it made me AI or something.
And she went on to say, whether the video was slowed or spliced or edited by CNN, there's really no dispute about what the video shows. It shows the defendant shoving, kicking, and dragging a female victim. That is true. Actually, when Subramanian was questioning Mark Agnifilo, he asked him about these text message conversations between Combs and victim one in the case, who we believe to be Cassandra Ventura. And whereas the prosecution has highlighted the messages to show that she was a victim of physical abuse and non-consensual sex acts, Agnifilo suggested that they had more information that provides more context to the relationship and to that 2016 video. He said, it really is purely consistent with our view of this being a consensual, long-term, loving, fraught relationship that had a breakup, and the breakup wasn't because of coerced sex or sex. He even suggested that there was regrettable physical conduct going both ways in this relationship. Now, when it came to the allegations of whether Sean Combs was improperly contacting or trying to contact people, Ms. Shapiro distinguished other cases, like where a defendant told someone to lie by phone. She said that's not happening here. Plus, when it comes to posting on social media, she says, Sean Combs, her client, has a First Amendment right to speak up when there is a barrage of negative media coverage out there and defend himself. And Judge Subramanian said, well, why can't he just do that through his lawyers? In other words, why does he have to go through these other third parties to do that? Now, Shapiro reportedly responded, well, we're happy to do that, but we're lawyers. It's not really what we do. Subramanian also pressed her on the communication.
Okay, wow, the sidebars. stop
were in
to
a car
take
accident in the last year.
a minute and pay some bills. We're up on Sidebar tonight with TV Show Talksies. I hope you guys are enjoying TV Show Talksies and the new digital set. As we've done a lot of work to get this to you in this creative digital way. Thank you all for joining, and let's jump back into the Sidebar.
Victims or witnesses, and she denied that this was evidence of obstruction, and she assured the judge that Sean Combs will listen to his lawyers. If they tell him not to do something, he won't do it. The problem, as re-emphasized by Prosecutor Slavic, is he says he has reached out to a witness, an alleged participant in multiple freak-offs, and he allegedly ignored his lawyers when they told him not to do the social media campaign around his birthday, but he wanted to do it anyway. And also, even if it is common, as the defense suggests, for inmates to share their codes to make phone calls,
it's illegal.
The Bureau of Prisons handbook prohibits this. The main idea, he doesn't follow the rules on the inside, he can't be expected to follow the rules on the outside. Now, this moves into arguably the most interesting and pivotal moment in this hearing. This is when the judge inquired as to where home confinement would exactly be. Now, Mark Agnifilo indicated that it would be in Miami, that there would be a dock but no boat, and the judge heard that and said, that's not going to work. Where in New York could he stay? So, Agnifilo responded that there is an apartment in the Upper East Side, 3 bedrooms. There would be 2 security guards in the apartment, 1 downstairs, no access to phone or internet except calls with his lawyers, and Combs would avoid all contact with anyone who would be a witness in this case. And I have to tell you, this could be a sign that Judge Subramanian is entertaining the idea of pretrial release and home confinement. I will say, though, Judge Subramanian also heard from Pretrial Services. This is the office that ensures federal criminal defendants appear in court and monitor their activities so they don't pose a danger on the outside. And the representative from Pretrial Services sided with the prosecution and reportedly said that we maintain the bail conditions are insufficient. However, this representative seemed to acknowledge that there aren't any cases they're aware of where private guards would be enlisted. This is unique. So, what did the judge decide? Well, he said he will make a decision promptly next week on bail, meaning this week, and he did suggest that both the prosecution and the defense submit letters to the court by Monday, today, at noon. And one of the questions is, what can Sean Combs say or not say right now? And those letters just came in. So the defense pointed to the recent case of United States versus Donald Trump when it comes to what Combs can say about his own case. Because Mr. Combs is, quote, a criminal defendant and is presumed to be innocent, he has a, quote, greater constitutional claim than other trial participants, including counsel, to criticize and speak out against the prosecution and the criminal trial process that seek to take away his liberty. Accordingly, the court should apply Trump's heightened standard when considering Mr. Combs' speech here. The defense also argued again that what Combs had to say was protected under the First Amendment, free speech. Alexandra Shapiro cited multiple court cases in her letter. The cited examples do not even remotely implicate the types of possible prejudicial speech that courts have previously considered. This is not speech about witness testimony or cooperation that imperils the availability, content, and integrity of witness testimony, nor does the speech target known or reasonably foreseeable witnesses concerning their potential participation in the criminal proceeding. Mr. Combs did not make public statements in an attempt to discredit testimony for the prosecution or make evidence available to the news media. The speech does not concern any attempt to publish court-ordered discovery, and this is not a case where the party's expression was itself obstructive. The government is essentially arguing for a standard in which the entire press community and civil plaintiffs and the government itself can wage war against Mr. Combs' reputation, but Mr. Combs can't even try to influence public opinion himself in response. That is simply not the law. And clearly she's referencing the multitude of lawsuits that he's facing. Now, the defense says that none of the examples the prosecution gave hold water, and they should not be used as reasons to keep Sean Combs behind bars. So what did the prosecution have to say about the bail hearing on Friday? Well, they got
My
straight
set.
to the point on page 1 of their letter.
You like my
The
set?
defendant's history of obstructive conduct is part and parcel to his decades-long pattern of violence, which must be considered along with his obstructive conduct to fully assess his dangerousness under the Bail Reform Act. A holistic view of his obstructive and violent conduct that is still happening presently, makes clear that there is no way to rebut the applicable presumption of detention in this case. The bail package presented by the defendant does not come close to ensuring the safety of the community, including
You like
the
my set,
defendant's
though? You see how-
ongoing efforts to obstruct this case. Nor does it adequately protect from risk of flight. For all of these reasons, the defendant's renewed application for bail must be denied. So,
Attention
As I
retirees.
some
If you're willing
bills,
to be
they are bringing us
here
up to
from now-
speed on what led to Diddy's bail denial on previous Monday. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the digital set. We're going to keep this around for a very long time, so please continue to support, like, follow, and tip the girl. Tip the girl. Okay, you can also donate to my PayPal with a blessing. All that is aligned in my new stream.
the fact that Judge Subramanian did not immediately deny Combs' bid for bail like the other two judges did, and has entertained what home confinement would look like, it is possible he could make bail. It is possible Sean Combs could make bail. Now,
Although we know he did not
should
make
he
bail.
violate any conditions, if he's actually released, he will go straight back to the MDC, and probably, absent some extraordinary circumstance, he will never get another chance at bail again. So if he does get released, he most certainly better be on his best behavior. Now, doesn't mean that the government won't file obstruction charges against Sean Combs and, let's say, a superseding indictment based on what he allegedly did in MDC. They could still do that. Remember, the government acknowledged they are submitting evidence to a grand jury in New York right now. They could also use evidence of what they say is obstruction, not even in additional charges, but just as additional evidence in the racketeering charge that he currently faces. And if he is released and violates his bail conditions, they could also file additional charges to them. Now, what happens if Subramanian denies Sean Combs bail? Well, it seems that Sean Combs has one final attempt to take this issue up to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, a higher appellate court. In fact, his legal team had submitted a legal brief in support of bail previously with this court, but then they asked the court to pause a decision on that while they petition Judge Subramanian first. Okay, so with that, let's see what Judge Subramanian decides. And if he decides soon enough, is it possible Sean Combs could be released and reunited with his family right in time for Thanksgiving? Let's see. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sidebar. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Okay, so we know that Diddy did not get granted bail on Monday. Bail was ultimately denied for Puffy. And those are the reasons why. Let me know that in the chat what you guys think. Me personally, I for one, I'm glad that Diddy got denied bail. I did not want Diddy out on bail. I'm a mother and everything such as the sort. You see what I mean? So I was not in fan favor of Diddy being released on bail. So yeah, that was that. You know, for me, I am one very thankful and that the courts are making very just sound sound judge decisions on Diddy staying in jail. Okay. And so that was the sidebar, bringing us up to date on, why Diddy was, coming up for the third bail hearing and what that looked like. There have been so many people coming out, right, about Diddy. Now, we've heard of the Andre English girl, right? We talked about her. We have had her I like some of his content. I get a lot of my understanding and insight on just where things are with Diddy, especially, right? He stays up on top of who's current, who's bringing forth the new hot tea topics on Diddy. Then there was this girl named Lamisha. Okay. She came out about Diddy. And let's listen to the things that she had to say. She was also on the Sean Atwood show. Okay. Let's listen to a tad bit of what she said. I don't see. Where the hell did it go? Hold on, guys.
Your story. I know you went through a lot of traumatic things
Okay.
In your
We
life.
got it
and we're
up
definitely
here.
grateful to have you on the show
Hold on.
today.
Yeah.
Stop letting.
When I was there, like,
Let's pause it.
it was horrible.
We can't hear
It
it.
was horrible. It was so horrible.
We cannot hear
I
this.
can't,
I don't know why.
I
I'm
can't
working on
describe
sound.
how horrible it was. Everybody telling me not to speak would just let them reveal my face. And like I'm telling people around me, if I wanted the money, I would have been and took the money. Like they've been paying me money and I've been living like I'm broke. They got my pictures out here. Who put my pictures out here?
I don't know why. Sound.
Now, peeps, I sat down for the most exclusive interview of 2024. We've seen her pictures all over the internet with multiple celebrities eating food off of her body when she was just a preteen. We've seen her sitting in Diddy's lap in the studio when she was even younger. Now, hear her story for the very first time. We've heard stories of her abuse by famed actress Jennifer Lopez. She details her abuse by
Let's see if we
Diddy
can get sound.
With Misha, a victim of
We
Diddy,
cannot
the
get
viral
sound.
young lady that was featured
There
in
is no sound
and circulated all over the internet.
coming.
This is
from
part
this
2
one.
of the shocking exclusive interview.
Now, peeps, I sat down for the most
I hope you guys can hear me. Okay. Let me check my audio. Make sure you guys can still hear me.
a shocking exclusive. Peeps, I sat down for.
I hope you guys can hear me. Oh, okay. You guys could hear. I couldn't hear it. I could not hear for some reason. Okay. So. Okay. Let me check my audio. Make sure you guys can still hear me. I'm gonna pause for a second. I just got a really important phone call. You guys can hear. I couldn't hear it. I could not hear for some reason. Okay. So we gotta work on that. Let me check my audio. Make sure you guys can still hear me. I'm gonna pause for a second. I just got a really important phone call. You guys can hear. I couldn't hear it. I cannot hear for some reason. Okay, I'm back. So I don't know why you guys couldn't hear me. Um, we just got a tap in from someone. Her name is Lisette the Hood Prophet. I'm going to see what she's saying. She's going to be a guest on our show soon, maybe tonight, to talk about. Sorry.
I literally always have the cards on me. I take them everywhere I go. If I don't have a plague deck, then I have a tarot deck. And yes, I got the deck, but you ain't doing what you want the deck for. What you want me to have the deck for? You know I'm psychic medium, so we like different. Like I don't even have to have the deck, but I always keep the motherfucking deck. But yeah, I'm just sitting in this car because I'm not about to go inside the motherfucking house because of that dog, and so I'm still sitting out in the car.
Okay. So what we'll do, right? Because how I would like to format Let's Set the Hood Prophet Tarot Card Reader Psychic Medium into the show is at the top of the show. Okay. So not like in the middle of the show when I'm talking about Diddy and going over, interviews and, things like that of the sort from the matter with Diddy. So that's how I would do that. I don't understand exactly why we were not able to talk about or hear the Lamisha girl that was, saying she was a Diddy victim, and him and J-Lo trafficked her and had her shitting on a stage, and it was, crazy, mess, a big debacle of a situation. So I'm going to try to bring it up again. Okay. And see if we can't hear it now. So just give me a second. I hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday evening. A lot of us are getting over the Thanksgiving itis. I know I am. I didn't pig out on Thanksgiving. However, ate very hearty. Okay, so we're just not gonna try to get the Lionel B show. So let's look her up on Shot Tablet and see if it comes through. Okay. Misha surviving Diddy. I can hear it. Okay, let's get over here and get it up and streaming. Okay. Okay.
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay sifted.